There is a kind of emptiness that no success, no relationship, no achievement, and no possession can fill. It is the quiet ache that appears in the moments when life becomes still, when the noise fades, when the applause ends, when the distractions stop working. The Dalai Lama teaches that this emptiness is not a sign that something is wrong with your life. It is a sign that something is unexamined within you. It is not a punishment, it is an invitation. Most people try to fill this inner void with external experiences. They chase admiration, validation, comfort, entertainment, new goals, new faces, new sensations. But the more they acquire, the more the emptiness seems to grow. Why? Because emptiness cannot be filled from the outside. It is not a hole in your life. It is a silence in your heart. And no amount of noise can drown a silence that was meant to be heard. According to the teachings of Tibetan wisdom, the real cause of inner emptiness is disconnection. Disconnection from yourself, from your values, from your purpose, and from your true nature. You feel empty not because your life lacks something, but because your attention has been stolen by the surface of things. You are living outward while your soul waits inward. You are chasing movement while your heart whispers for stillness. The Dalai Lama often says, we lose ourselves not in hardship, but in distraction. The world pulls you in 1,000 directions. Your mind becomes crowded, but your heart becomes hollow. You become full of information, but empty of meaning. You become full of desires, but empty of intention. You become full of opinions, but empty of understanding. The emptiness you feel is not failure. It is feedback. It is your inner self telling you you are living too far away from who you truly are. In Tibetan philosophy, emptiness is not a negative state. It is a gateway. It is the space between what you are and what you pretend to be. It is the distance between your truth and your habits. It is the pause between the self you became to survive and the self you were meant to become. This emptiness becomes painful only when resisted. When you try to fill it with distractions, you deepen it. When you try to avoid it, you strengthen it. When you judge it, you imprison yourself in it. But when you sit with it, when you truly allow yourself to feel it without running away, it begins to reveal its message. The Dalai Lama teaches that emptiness appears for 3 main reasons. 1. You are living a life shaped by expectations, not authenticity. So many people chase what they were told they should want, success, admiration, approval, rather than what actually nourishes their inner being. They follow a path that looks right, instead of one that feels right. And the heart knows the difference. 2. You are emotionally disconnected from your own inner world. Most people understand their feelings only in fragments. They suppress what hurts, deny what scares them, reject what shames them. They live half present, half absent, and the emptiness grows in the space where their truth should be. 3. You have forgotten your place in the universe, not philosophically, not spiritually, but experientially. You rush through life as if you were separate from others, separate from nature, separate from something greater than yourself. But the soul cannot survive in isolation. It starves. This is why even people who have everything still report feeling hollow. The mind is full, but the heart is unfed. The Dalai Lama teaches that emptiness is not a void. It is an indicator. It shows you that something essential has been neglected. It shows you that your inner life is calling you back. Imagine a cup. If it is full of muddy water, you cannot drink from it. But if it is emptied, cleaned, and filled with fresh water, it becomes useful again. Your emptiness is not the cup breaking, it is the cup being emptied so it can receive something real. The truth is this: feeling empty inside is not a sign that you are broken. It is a sign that you are ready to grow, ready to change direction, ready to stop living on the surface, ready to meet the self you have ignored for too long. The Dalai Lama says, "Only when you are empty can you be filled with peace." The emptiness you feel today is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of your awakening. In the next part, we explore why the things you cling to cannot fill the void, and how attachment fuels the illusion of fulfillment. The Dalai Lama teaches that the deepest form of emptiness comes from disconnection. Disconnection from your inner nature, from your values, from the quiet truth that lives beneath the noise of your everyday mind. You feel empty not because your life lacks something, but because you have been living far away from yourself. When the mind becomes crowded with fear, pressure, comparison, and desire, the inner voice becomes faint. You start living according to what the world demands instead of what your soul needs. This creates a hollow space inside you, a space that no achievement or relationship can fill. Reconnection begins the moment you stop running from yourself. Tibetan wisdom says that the heart is like a lake. When the water is agitated, you cannot see your reflection. But when the water becomes still, your true nature appears effortlessly. That stillness is what most people avoid, yet it is the only place where the emptiness begins to dissolve. The Dalai Lama teaches that inner peace does not come from removing difficulties, but from understanding them. Your emptiness is not an enemy, it is a messenger. It is trying to call you back home. But to understand its message, you must learn to sit with it, to feel without escaping, to observe without judging, to breathe without fighting. Meditation is not about emptying the mind. It is about returning the mind to its natural state, clear, open, compassionate, and aware. When you sit in silence, you begin to notice something subtle. Your emptiness has edges, but it also has depth. Beneath the fear, there is space. Beneath the space, there is awareness. Beneath the awareness, there is a quiet strength that does not depend on anything outside you. This strength is the foundation of inner fulfillment. It is the part of you that cannot be broken by loss, rejection, failure, or uncertainty. It is the part of you that remains whole even when your circumstances fall apart. Tibetan teachers often say, "The mind is its own medicine." When you reconnect to your inner nature, the emptiness begins to transform. What once felt like a void now feels like a doorway. What once felt like loneliness now feels like solitude. What once felt like pain now feels like growth. In this state, you begin to see your thoughts as clouds passing through the sky of your awareness. You realize you are not your fear, not your insecurity, not your past, not your expectations. You are the sky. Everything else is the weather. The Dalai Lama reminds us that compassion is one of the most powerful tools for dissolving inner emptiness. Not compassion for others only, but compassion for yourself. Most people suffer because they treat themselves harshly. They judge their failures, suppress their emotions, compare their journey, and punish their mistakes. This self-criticism deepens the void. But when you approach yourself with gentleness, the heart begins to reopen. Compassion reconnects you to your humanity. It reminds you that you are allowed to be imperfect, to struggle, to learn, to grow. You are allowed to begin again. Gratitude is another practice that transforms emptiness. Not the forced gratitude of pretending everything is fine, but the conscious awareness of what is already here. Your breath, your senses, your memories, your resilience, the people who love you, the lessons that shaped you. Gratitude does not fill the emptiness artificially. It illuminates it from within. It reveals that even in the darkest inner spaces, there is light waiting to be recognized. The Dalai Lama teaches that true fulfillment comes not from what you gain, but from what you understand. When you begin to see your life with clarity, the emptiness loses its power. It no longer controls you. It becomes a space of possibility. You begin to sense a new energy rising inside, calm, grounded, expansive. This is your true self returning. This is the beginning of inner wholeness. And as you reconnect with your inner nature, something remarkable happens. The world around you begins to change, not because the world has changed, but because you are finally seeing it through the lens of awareness instead of desire. In the next part, we explore the final transformation, how to turn emptiness into purpose and walk through life with a heart that no longer feels hollow, but whole. Most people try to fill their inner emptiness with external things, but the Dalai Lama teaches that whatever you cling to becomes the very source of your suffering. Attachment is not love, not purpose, not meaning. Attachment is fear in disguise. Fear of being alone, fear of being unworthy, fear of facing the silence within yourself. When you cling to people, achievements, possessions, or identities, you are not holding on to them. You are holding on to the illusion that they can complete you. But nothing outside you can fill the space that was created for your inner awakening. You feel empty because you have been feeding your ego while starving your soul. The ego wants more. More approval, more attention, more pleasure, more validation. The soul wants truth, peace, alignment, stillness. And the more you confuse the desires of the ego for the needs of the heart, the deeper your emptiness feels. According to Tibetan wisdom, attachment creates a cycle of endless craving. You want something, you chase it, you get it, you enjoy it briefly. Then the satisfaction fades, and the emptiness returns, stronger than before. This is because the thing you were chasing was never designed to satisfy the spirit. It was only meant to distract the mind. When you expect external things to heal internal wounds, you set yourself up for disappointment. The Dalai Lama explains that there are 3 forms of attachment that most often deepen the void: the attachment to identity, the attachment to desire, and the attachment to others. The attachment to identity is one of the most subtle traps. You cling to who you think you should be instead of meeting who you truly are. You identify with success, appearance, status, intelligence, or strength, forgetting that these are temporary forms, not your true nature. When life shifts and these identities crack, the emptiness underneath them rises to the surface. The attachment to desire is even more deceiving. Desire promises happiness, but once fulfilled, it only creates new desire. You say, "I will be happy when..." But the moment you reach the milestone, your mind invents a new one. Desire is endless, and chasing it is like trying to fill a bottomless cup. No matter how much you pour, it never becomes full. The attachment to others is the most painful of all. You cling to people hoping they will make you feel whole, loved, or safe. But when you depend on someone else to fill your emptiness, you place an impossible burden on them. No human can complete another. When they fail to meet your hidden emotional needs, you feel abandoned, disappointed, or shattered, when in truth, you were asking them to heal a wound they never caused. Attachment is like holding sand tightly in your hand. The tighter you grip it, the more it slips through your fingers. Letting go does not mean losing. Letting go means releasing the fear that someone or something is responsible for your happiness. It means loosening the emotional chains that keep you trapped in cycles of craving and dissatisfaction. The Dalai Lama teaches that letting go creates space. Space for truth, space for peace, space for the real self to emerge. When you release expectations, the weight on your heart begins to lift. You breathe more freely, you see more clearly. You begin to discover that emptiness is not a void to be filled, but a doorway to something deeper. You start realizing that the silence you feared contains answers. The loneliness you avoided contains wisdom. The space you tried to fill contains your hidden self. The Dalai Lama often reminds us, letting go is not giving up. It is gaining freedom. And the moment you loosen your grip on attachments, even slightly, you begin to feel a shift, a softness replacing urgency, a calmness replacing craving, a quiet sense of presence replacing the endless chase. This is the first sign that emptiness is beginning to transform from something painful into something meaningful. Because emptiness does not disappear when you add things to your life. Emptiness dissolves when you return to yourself. In the next part, we explore the path back inward, how reconnecting to your true nature begins to fill the void from within. The Dalai Lama teaches that the final transformation of emptiness occurs when you stop searching for meaning outside yourself and begin creating it from within. Emptiness becomes unbearable only when you expect life to fill it for you. But when you choose to fill it with intention, awareness, and compassion, it becomes your greatest source of power. Purpose is not something you find on a mountaintop in a miracle or in the approval of others. Purpose is what emerges when your actions align with your inner truth. When you stop living for applause and start living from authenticity, the emptiness begins to dissolve like mist under sunlight. The Dalai Lama explains that humans often misunderstand purpose. They think it must be grand, dramatic, or world-changing. But true purpose is simple: to live fully awake, to bring kindness into the moments where cruelty is easy, to bring patience into moments where frustration is automatic, to bring clarity into moments where fear tries to dominate. Purpose is not a destination. It is a way of walking, a way of breathing, a way of meeting the world with an open heart instead of a hollow one. When you shift your attention from what the world owes you to what you can offer the world, something inside you unlocks. Emptiness begins to transform into presence. You feel grounded, centered, capable, alive. Tibetan monks teach that every human heart contains a natural radiance, but it becomes buried under layers of desire, doubt, comparison, and distraction. When these layers fall away, even slightly, your inner light begins to shine again. This is why service, helping others even in small ways, has such a powerful effect on the soul. It lifts you out of your isolated self and reconnects you to the larger web of life. You feel that you matter because you are contributing, giving, easing someone's burden. The Dalai Lama often says, if you want to be happy, practice compassion. Not because compassion solves every problem, but because it expands the heart until emptiness has no room to rule it. Purpose is born from connection, connection to yourself, to others, to the world, and to something greater than all of them. When you live with purpose, even the difficult moments gain meaning. Pain becomes teacher, failure becomes direction, loss becomes clarity. Silence becomes wisdom. Everything in life begins to feel like part of a larger pattern, and the hollow space inside you transforms into a vessel that holds understanding. The Dalai Lama teaches that fulfillment is not about adding more to your life. It is about removing what blocks your natural state of peace. When you let go of attachment, return to yourself, embrace compassion, and act with awareness, fulfillment rises naturally from within. You no longer chase happiness, you embody it. You no longer seek validation. You know your worth. You no longer fear loneliness. You find depth in solitude. You no longer run from emptiness. You turn it into strength. True wisdom arises when the heart stops fighting what it feels and starts listening. When you honor your emotions instead of suppressing them. When you allow your wounds to teach you. When you stop pretending and start being, the emptiness inside you becomes the birthplace of something new. A deeper self, a freer self, a more conscious self. The Dalai Lama teaches that suffering is not your identity. It is your invitation to awaken. When you treat your inner emptiness as a sacred signal rather than a flaw, you unlock the ability to build a life that reflects your true nature. A life of meaning, a life of peace, a life where your heart is not filled by the world, but illuminated from within. Standing in this new state of awareness, you realize something profound. The emptiness you feared was not a void. It was a doorway to the self you were always meant to become. And as you step through it, you begin to live, not as someone who is searching for wholeness, but as someone who has finally remembered they were whole all along.